Okay, so only watch this after you've actually done the homework. And I'm going to go through and explain it. So if you need to pause, rewind, watch this, and please pay attention. So we're talking about rate of change, and you do have some questions exactly like this on your quiz and test. I'm going to tell you right now, one of the questions on here actually shows up on the quiz. So tune in. Okay, so let's get started. Your instructions were for each graph below, find the slope, then describe how one variable changed in relation to this. You have two parts of this. Find the slope first. So that's maybe the easy part, I don't know. So you pick 2 points. And notice your graph. This goes by 40s, well 20s I guess. So 0, 20, 40, 60, 80. I only marked every 40 though. The side goes 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. You really got to tune in and pay attention to that. So that means this first point right here is actually the point 80. 80, there we go. 80 and 4. So that's the point 84. This one's 84, over 80, up 4. And this point over here, let's again just picking 2 random points, is the point 210. Okay, so now you have 2 points that you can use to make or find your slope, right? Remember, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I know you love hearing me say that. So, marking these, what they are, remember x's come first, and it doesn't matter which one you pick. x1, y1, x2, y2. There you go. So, now we're going to go ahead and find the slope here. So, let's plug in our numbers. We've got 10 minus 4. Again, if you're confused on that, y2 is 10, boom. y1 is 4, boom, right there, okay? Okay. Alrighty. Over 200 minus 80. And if you need to pause, go ahead and do so you can do the math there. So you're going to get 6 over 120, which reduces to 1 over 20. 1 over 20. So the first part, again, is find the slope. So you did that. Describe what that means. That means, notice, remember the Y's on top is fuel. That means for every gallon of gas I use, right, it says gallons right there, every gallon of gas I use, I get to go 20 miles. So, now we're used to hearing it the other way around, like 20 miles per gallon kind of thing. In this case, it's going to be gallons. So again, you're going to write it in words. Every gallon, I drive 20 miles. So say that. Every gallon, I go 20 miles. Should be every gallon of gas, maybe, if you want to be more specific. So there you go. All right, so that's a complete answer. That's what I'll be looking for in the quiz and the test. Okay, so let's take a look here. This time we have the amount of rice in a grocery store, and we have a graph here. Notice the graph goes down. Negative slope, right? Negative slope. So be thinking that right off the bat. So you're going to have a negative slope. I want to show you another little thing that you might not have considered. We can actually make a T-chart out of these points if you prefer. And we're going to pick 2 different points. We're going to pick the first point here, 120. And again, over 1 up 20, right? So the point 120. Oh, I'm sorry. You need to label the top of your chart. Almost forgot that. Weeks, that's the X is always going on the left. And pounds of rice, that's the Y, goes on the right. And the other point I want to pick is this one right here. Let's go with 310, right? 310. So 120 and 310. All right. So now it doesn't really matter, again, X and Y or whatever. The X and Y matters, but which one's point 1, which one's point 2. So we're going to label them as, let's see, we'll call this one Y1, and this one X1, and this one Y2, and this one X2. So X1, X2. So just you kind of see it maybe backwards a little bit. It doesn't matter what you pick, but your 1s have to go together and your 2s have to go together. So that's kind of the big trick there. So your formula, please remember, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You're going to be sick of me saying that. So we're going to put 20 minus 10 over 1 minus 3. So 20 minus 10 is 10. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. That becomes negative 5 over 1, or negative 5 if you prefer. So what does that mean? That means that every week, right, 1 week they sell 5 pounds of rice. It's a store, I'm assuming, something like that, right? And notice this. Week 1, you start out with 25. Or 0, I'm sorry, week 0, when you first start 25. We got 5 pounds less, right, from 25 to 20 after week 1. Then you have from 20 to 15 in week 2. And it goes down to 10 in week 3 and down to, down to 5. Then eventually they're going to be out and they have to restock, right? So they sell 5 pounds of rice a week. So you might put something like that. They sell 5 pounds of rice each week. Or you eat it, I don't know, whatever it is. So there you go. And again, food again, right? Okay, so this one, kind of maybe we're getting your groove here. Cost of sugar sold in bulk. So again, positive slope going up this time. 125, 250, 4, 100, right? So you can kind of see it growing up there. Notice this is by ones, even though I mark every 2. This is by 25s on the side. So that's something we really got to tune into when it comes to the homework. Okay, so let's take care of this here. Going to pick 2 points off this. We're going to pick the first point, 125, right? 125. And let's pick this point, 375, just for the fun of it. 375. Again, I don't know what 2 you picked. It doesn't matter. So we're going to call these the 2's. So we'll go down here. We'll say y2 and y1 and x2 and x1. So that means it looks like in our formula, 75 minus 25 over 3 minus 1. By now you should know the formula, right? We've only said it like 10,000 times. Okay, so we're going to end up with 50 over 2 or 25 over 1, or just obviously the number 25 is okay. What does that mean? Remember, the bottom is pounds of sugar, the top is cost in cents. So what that means is 25 cents per pound of sugar. 25 cents per pound of sugar. S-U-G-A-R. I probably can't spell. Alrighty, that's what it means. I'm looking for words like that. Okay, so on here, this time it says water draining from a basement. Something I need you to notice before we start. These go by 2's, but I only marked every 4. These go by 3's on here. So time is by 3 minutes, and the gallons is by every 2 gallons on the side there. But again, really mark the 4's. So 2 points I want to pick this time. Let's pick 312. That's this one. And let's go with 610. That's this one. So I've got 312 and 610. So just to be clear here, let's call this y2 and this one x2 and call this y1 and this one x1. And in our formula, that means we're going to have 10 minus 12 over 6 minus 3, which is negative 2/3. Now, we knew that, by the way, from the beginning, that this was a negative slope, right? So it goes, going down from left to right. So what does that mean? It means 2 gallons drain, right, because that's what it says here, every 3 minutes. There we go. 2 gallons drain every 3 minutes. Okay, so this last one, there's actually a quiz question like this. A couple of things. We're going to determine the growth rate of the horse here in just a second, growth rate of the seal, growth rate of the mouse, and then which one grows the fastest. You can actually answer that one right away. Growing the fastest means they have the steepest slope. So the horse, steepest slope. Notice the mouse is almost flat. Seal's kind of in the middle slope, and the horse is definitely the steepest slope. It doesn't matter where I draw them on here, but the horse is definitely the steepest slope. So that's how you know the horse grows faster. Calculating the slope, I'm not uber fond of this one because the points are kind of points I think are kind of fuzzy on it. But let's take a look at the horse. We start out at 0 and about 0.28, right? Notice these go by 10s along the bottom, and they go by 7.5 really on the side. So the horse, we could say from 0.28, right, and then to 30.35 maybe. So if we go to 30. About right there, so 30.35 might be the next one. And we can calculate the slope of that here. That's going to end up being 35 minus 28, right, on the top. Again, think of the formula for slope. And 30 minus 0 on the bottom. So that's about 7/30. Again, just an estimate. You might have slightly different numbers. The seal, we're going to go with 0.8-ish, right? Let's call it 0.8 because it's a nice number. Maybe it's 7.5, I don't know. And then let's go to 20, about 15 for the second dot right there. So again, calculating the slope here, we're going to have, let's see, so 15 minus 8 on the top, and on the bottom, 20 minus 0. So it's a slope of about 7/20ths. Okay, so 7/20ths. And then we're going to have on the mouse. Then we take a look at the mouse, and the mouse we really start like 0, 0, and then clear out here like 100, maybe 1. So that would give us a slope about 1/100. Now again, notice these numbers, maybe they're a little off from what you have. And that's the problem with this. The dots aren't really nice. They don't cross nicely. So you really have to rely on your eyes and the fact that you can see that. So again, these slopes might not even be right. I'm looking at them now, and I don't think I'm really that fond of them. So on my quiz and my test, I'm not going to ask you for the actual slopes when they're this ugly. What I will ask you is, which animal grows faster? How do you know? Well, the horse, you can clearly see, has a steeper slope. You can see that it rises much more quickly. In 30 days, clear up here to well, there's the issue, isn't it? That's about 38, not 35. So I'm looking at it. My math didn't make sense there. So 38. So I'm going to have 10/30, or 1/3. There we go. Versus 7/20. 7 divided by 20. Which is, so it's again, a little bit of a difference there. So, but again, how do you know which one grows faster? Steeper slope.